There's a fascinating psychological principle that intelligence operatives use when they need to approach someone without revealing their intentions. And it works incredibly well in everyday social situations, especially when you're attracted to someone. This technique is called parallel conversation. And once you understand how it works, you'll see opportunities to use it everywhere. The core idea is simple but counterintuitive. When you see someone you're attracted to, your natural instinct is to walk up and talk to them directly. But here's the problem with that approach. The moment you direct your attention at them first, you've given them dominance in the social dynamic. You've revealed your interest before they've shown any interest in you. This puts you in a vulnerable position from the very beginning. Parallel conversation works completely differently. Instead of approaching the person directly, you start a conversation with someone near them, not with them, but parallel to them. If you're at a bar and you see someone attractive sitting there, you don't walk up and talk to that person. You talk to whoever is sitting next to them. It could be their friend, it could be a complete stranger, it could be the bartender. The specific person doesn't matter. What matters is that you create a conversation that doesn't include your actual target. Here's what happens next, and this is where the psychology gets really interesting. When two people engage in conversation, they create what can be thought of as an energy center. There's a dynamic happening, information being exchanged, emotions being expressed, engagement of some kind. This energy center acts like a magnet for anyone nearby. Your target, sitting right next to this conversation, will naturally become curious about what's being discussed. This isn't a conscious choice they're making. It's happening at a subconscious level, driven by survival instincts that are hardwired into human psychology. Our brains are constantly scanning our environment for relevant information. When people near us are having a conversation, our subconscious asks questions. What are they talking about? Do they know something I don't know? Could this information be important to me? You've probably experienced this yourself. You're sitting somewhere, maybe at a coffee shop or on public transportation, and there are people near you having a conversation. You don't mean to eavesdrop. You might even tell yourself you shouldn't be listening, but you find yourself tuning in anyway. You catch fragments of what they're saying. You become invested in their story, even though you have no connection to these people. That's exactly the phenomenon we're talking about. So when you start a parallel conversation near someone you're attracted to, their survival instinct kicks in and forces them to pay attention. They can't help it. It's automatic. They start listening in. Maybe they lean slightly in your direction. Maybe they glance over. Maybe a small smile appears on their face if you say something amusing. Now, let's walk through exactly how this plays out in a real scenario. Imagine you're at a bar on a Friday evening. You notice someone attractive sitting at the bar. Instead of taking the seat next to them and starting with some opening line, you position yourself where you can talk to someone else nearby. Maybe it's the bartender. You strike up a conversation about something genuine. Maybe you ask about one of the drinks on the menu, or you comment on how busy the place is. The key is that this needs to be a real conversation, not a performance. As you talk to the bartender, you're having an actual exchange. Maybe the bartender tells you about a drink they recommend. Maybe they mention, "It's been an unusually busy night." You respond naturally, asking follow-up questions. This conversation is creating that energy center we talked about. And the person you're actually interested in, sitting nearby, starts to tune in subconsciously. They might hear you laugh. They might catch a comment you make that resonates with them. Whatever the specific trigger, their attention is now on your conversation. And here's the critical part. They've directed their attention toward you before you've shown any direct interest in them. This completely changes the power dynamic. You haven't chased them. They've become curious about you. Let's say the bartender mentions a particular cocktail is really popular. You might say something like, "I've never been great at picking drinks. I usually just go with whatever sounds least likely to give me a headache tomorrow." It's self-deprecating. It's honest. It's relatable. The person you're interested in might smile at that comment. Now, here's where the transition can happen naturally. The bartender might move away to help another customer. there's a brief moment of silence. And in that moment, the person you're interested in has a perfect opportunity to jump in. They might say something like, "I'm the same way with drinks." Or, "Did you end up trying what they recommended?" Notice what's happened here. They initiated contact with you. They opened the door. They're showing interest before you've directly shown interest in them. And because they made the first move toward you, they feel comfortable. There's no threat response. Their guard isn't up. But what if they don't jump in? You have options. You can continue your parallel conversation with someone else, creating even more social proof that you're interesting and approachable. Or, after you've established yourself as someone who's having genuine conversations, you can naturally expand the circle. You might turn slightly toward them and include them in a casual way. Maybe you say, "Have you been to this area before?" It's a simple question. It's not loaded with romantic intent. And because you've already established yourself as someone who has normal, pleasant conversations, it doesn't feel like a pickup attempt. The beauty of this approach is that it works whether the person is interested in you or not. If they're not attracted to you or not looking to meet anyone, they can give you a brief answer and return to what they were doing. There's no awkwardness, no rejection. But if they are open to conversation, they now have an easy, natural entry point. Let's consider another example. You're at a bookstore, coffee shop. You see someone attractive sitting at a table, reading. There's another person at a nearby table working on a laptop. Instead of interrupting the attractive person while they're reading, you approach the person at the other table. You might ask them if they know if the coffee shop has Wi-Fi, or comment on how comfortable the seating is. If that person is receptive, you have a brief, friendly exchange. The person you're actually interested in will overhear this interaction. They'll subconsciously register that you're someone who has normal social skills, who can approach people in a non-threatening way, who seems pleasant. All of this is building a positive impression without them consciously evaluating you. After your conversation naturally concludes, you might go order a coffee. When you come back, maybe the attractive person is taking a break from their book. You could sit at a table in their line of sight, creating another opportunity for natural eye contact or a casual smile. Or maybe as you walk past their table, they look up and you make brief eye contact. You can give a friendly smile and keep walking. No pressure, no expectation. The key principle is that you're never forcing anything. You're creating opportunities for natural interaction while demonstrating through your behavior that you're a socially calibrated person who respects boundaries. And because the attractive person has observed you interacting positively with others first, if and when you do eventually talk to them directly, they already have a favorable impression of you. This technique works because it addresses several psychological principles at once. It removes the threat response that can come from direct approaches. It leverages curiosity and the human tendency to pay attention to nearby conversations. It creates social proof by demonstrating that you can interact successfully with others. It establishes a more balanced power dynamic by allowing the other person to show interest in you first, and it gives both parties an easy exit if there's no mutual interest. The technique requires patience and genuine engagement with the people you're actually talking to. You can't fake this. If you're obviously talking to someone just to get the attention of the person next to them, it will come across as manipulative. The conversation you're having needs to be real. You need to actually care about what the bartender has to say, or what the person at the coffee shop thinks. This authenticity is what makes the technique work. It's also important to recognize that this approach respects everyone's autonomy and comfort. You're not trapping anyone in an uncomfortable situation. You're simply creating an environment where natural, comfortable interactions can occur if there's mutual interest. And if there's not mutual interest, no harm done. Everyone continues with their evening without any awkwardness.